All right, so now there is sound. Let's see if Kathy Victor is here. No. All right, I'll record it on my computer. And we're doing, I suppose that we're doing some prayers, right? Heart Sutra. Share screen. Let's see. The Human League. I forgive you, as I said. A great committee of monks and a great committee of Bodhisattvas. In that time, the Bhagavan was absorbed in consideration of the categories of phenomena called profound perception. Also, at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, when the practice of profound perfection of wisdom, and beheld those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. And through the power of the Buddha's Bhagavad Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara. How should any son of the lineage train who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom? He said that, and the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra. Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of profound perfection of wisdom should learn up like this, correctly and repeatedly beholding those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, composition of factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no composition of factors, and no consciousness. No eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no odor, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomenon. There is no I element and so up to and including no mind element and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no extension of ignorance, and so on, up to including no aging and death, and no extension of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, Bodhisattva rely on dwell in the perfection of wisdom, not obscuration without fear, having completely passed beyond error, the reach the end point of Nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times also manifestly completely awakened to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. And therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of the great knowledge, equal to the unequal, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering should be known as the truth, since it is not false. The religion of wisdom is declared. Taita Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisattva. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagavan arose from that concentration and commended the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage, it is like that, it is like that. One should practice the prevention of wisdom just as you have indicated, even the Tathagatas rejoice. The Bhagavan have thus spoken in the Venerable Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, Arya Avalokiteshvara, and those surrounding in their entirety, along with the worlds of gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised that spoken by the Bhagavan. Chodan Soki Chonam La, Chanchu Badu Dani Kyapsuchi, Dagi Chini Gibet Sonangi, Jola Pinchi Sangi Dopa Sha. Chodan Soki Chonam La, Chanchu Badu Dani Kyapsuchi, Dagi Chuche Gibet Sonangi, Zola Pinchi Sangi Dopa Sha. Chodan Soki Chonam La, Chanchu Badu Dani Kyapsuchi, Dagi Chuche Gibet Sonangi, Jola Pinchi Sangi Dopa Sha. All right, let's see if Kathy Victor is here. Oh, That's all right. I'm recording and some other people are recording. All right. So how's everyone doing? That's good. So let's start with Lynn's question. How do you take the Bodhisattva vow? Is it just studying this text and making the commitment yourself enough, or do you have to go through a formal ceremony? So usually when you take the Bodhisattva vow, you do it for the first time with a master. So maybe, I don't know, but maybe Geshe-la will give the vow when we reach the third chapter, when the ceremony for taking up the Bodhisattva vow is explained. So maybe it will be done like that, but after you have taken it for the first time, you can take it repeatedly again and again. And the procedure for doing that is, there are a few procedures for doing that. So it's good to do the 6 preliminary practices in terms of arranging your place of meditation, cleaning it up, arranging representations of body, speech, and mind, arranging offerings, preparing your mind properly for this procedure. And then you visualize that the space in front of you is filled with Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And these are the witnesses that you use for you taking up the Bodhisattva vow. So you visualize them in front of you and you think that you're repeating after them a certain recitation. So there are a few procedures for doing that. Like, for example, in the 6th session Guru Yoga, in the first part of the 6th session Guru Yoga, there is a verse that combines O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Gurus, please listen to what I've said from the depth of my heart. Just all the Buddhas passive has developed the thought of enlightenment, true bodhicitta, and practice the trainings of all Buddha's children. So may too, for the sake of all beings, develop bodhicitta and follow the trainings exactly as all Bodhisattvas have done. You know, so this is actually something that is taken, I think, from Shantideva's Guide to Bodhisattva Way of Life, from the 3rd chapter. So what I've just recited is covered by a couple of verses. So you can use that as a format for taking upon yourself the Bodhisattva vow. And you can do it daily, actually. So for those of us who do have the commitment of the 6th session Guru Yoga, we do it twice a day. We do it actually 6 times a day, in a sense that it's the 6th session Guru Yoga. So you take the Bodhisattva vow in the morning, and then you take the Bodhisattva vow again in the evening. If you do it 3 times in the morning, 3 times in the evening. But for those of you who don't have the 6th session Guru Yoga commitment, you can still do it just as part of your daily practice, spiritual practice, in which you, again, kind of think that you're repeating after Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and you're taking upon yourself the Bodhisattva vow. And yeah, that's the way to do it. Chokila?
I just want to add that Geshe-la said in a teaching recently, you can actually fulfill that by reciting the refuge and bodhicitta.
Okay.
3 times more.
All right. So Geshe-la, Venerable Shuki said that Geshe-la has said recently that you can also recite 3 times the verse for refuge and bodhicitta, and through that, take upon yourself the Bodhisattva vow. So we haven't spoken about the Bodhisattva vow yet, but no, since Lynn asked that question, maybe it's good to say a few words about it. So if you think of the wording of the Bodhisattva vow and what you're saying, just as all the Buddhas of the past to develop the thought of enlightenment, true bodhicitta, and practice the stages of all Buddha's children, right? So just as all the Buddhas of Bodhisattvas have developed bodhicitta and then trained in the conduct of Bodhisattvas, the 6 perfections and the 4 ways of gathering disciples, so may I too, for the sake of all sentient beings, develop bodhicitta and follow the training exactly as all Bodhisattvas have done. So the commitment that you make is basically to emulate Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, to do what they have done, to generate the mind of enlightenment and to practice the 6 perfections, justice, generosity. This is the commitment. So if you are making that commitment in the presence of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, which means that you're taking upon yourself the vow, what you then need to do is to abstain from the 18 root downfalls and this 46 secondary offenses. So they're not given as separate vows. No, so sometimes in English we call them the Bodhisattva vows. But actually, when you think of what they are, so praising myself and belittling others. No, we're not vowing to praise ourselves and belittle others. We have made a commitment to abstain from that. Yeah. So, we are going to abstain from praising myself and belittling others. We're going to abstain from not sharing my wealth or the Dharma. We're going to abstain from, from things like wrong view, teaching emptiness to those who are not a suitable vessel, passing false judgment, all sorts of things we're going to commit to, but they're not given as separate vows. Actually, you get all of them as one package of things that you need to abstain from. When you make that commitment to train in the deeds of Bodhisattva, and this is the vow that you're taking, to train in the deeds of Bodhisattvas just as all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas have done. Right? So, why am I saying that, by the way? I forgot. Why am I saying that? I forgot my last. All right, the vow. Yeah, the vow. All right, yeah. Thank you. I kind of forgot, what am I doing here? Yeah. Where am I? Yeah. So this is the engaging vow. So it's called the engaging vow because you're making a commitment to training the deeds of Bodhisattva. So we said that there are two minds of enlightenment: the aspirational or wishing mind of enlightenment, and the engaging mind of enlightenment. Geshe-la made a few comments today about the distinction between the two, and we've also covered verse 15, I think, 15 and 16, that explain the difference between the two. So I'm wondering what's the best way to approach it. What I thought of doing today is to look at, first of all, the definition of the mind of enlightenment, the different parts of the definition of the mind of enlightenment, and then to look at the definitions of the aspiring and engaging mind of enlightenment, in order to also relate to what Geshe-la said, to become clearer about it. But since we started with Lynn's question and the vow, maybe let's look at the two definitions of the aspiring and engaging mind of enlightenment. And then we'll go back to bodhicitta, the mind of enlightenment, the definition, and make that clear. Does it sound like a good idea? All right. Any questions before we continue? So let's look at the definition. I think that the definition that I have are taken from Jetsumpa's just a second, I can't do two things at the same time. I can't think and browse my computer. So it's taken from Jetsumpa's general meaning of the ornament for clear realization. So, all right, this is what I was looking for, sorry. Well, I think that, the mark of being an okay translator is that when you can cover for all the things that you miss and all the things that you don't understand, all the things that you do not know, all the mistakes that you're making it sound seamlessly as if you know what you're talking about. That's a mark of a good translator. All right, so sorry, I stopped that. All right, so let's begin with the definition of the aspiring mind of enlightenment. So first of all, it is a conventional mind of enlightenment, right? So we rule out that the aspiring mind of enlightenment is an ultimate mind of enlightenment. It can only be a conventional mind of enlightenment, which means that, first of all, it is a Mahayana mind generation. And it doesn't explicitly qualify, should be qualify, the practice of the conduct. So what you have is a printout of this? Okay. All right. So it does not explicitly qualify the practice of the conduct. And the engaging mind of enlightenment is a conventional mind of enlightenment. So that's the first part. That's the first part of the definition. And it explicitly qualifies the practice of the conduct. And it is in the continuum of one where it's the engaging Bodhisattva vow. So let's first of all begin with the business of explicitly qualifying. What does it mean to explicitly qualify? To begin with, I'm wondering, is anyone here or anyone at home? Does anyone know what the meaning of one consciousness qualifying the other? Have you heard it before?
One consciousness qualifying the
Yeah,
other.
qualifying the other. So we said that, for example, the aspiring mind of enlightenment explicitly qualifies the practice of the conduct. So I'm trying to, first of all, I want to make sure that we get the meaning of to qualify, one consciousness qualifying the other, one consciousness imbued with another, one consciousness affecting the other, right? So the different translations of the same term in Tibetan. So you say validate, not precisely. So that's more like the explicitly qualifying. That's the meaning of explicitly. But I'm looking for the meaning of qualifying. First of all, to qualify.
Well,
to prove it.
Well, that you sort of passed you have reached the standard.
You've reached the standard. All right. So we had a few trials.
Prerequisite.
Sorry? Could I put the definitions on the screen again? Yeah. All right. Jason, did you say something? Was it Jason? Graham. All right. So I'll give you the answer of qualifying. So when two consciousnesses qualify each other, it means that when you meditate on one, the strength of the other one grows and increases. So for example, if you meditate on the mind of enlightenment, your faith will increase. It qualifies faith. Faith qualifies the mind of enlightenment. So if you have developed the mind of enlightenment and you have faith, actually, no, let's say ethics. Let's speak about ethics. Ethics, we said that the nature of ethics is a mind of abstention, right? It is an abstention, let's say. So you have a mind that abstains, right? So when the mind of enlightenment qualifies ethics, then when you meditate on the mind of enlightenment and the power of bodhicitta increases, your ethics will also increase, become strong, because the mind of enlightenment qualifies ethics. So by the power of meditating on the mind of enlightenment, ethics will grow and increase. But it also works the other way around. If you've developed the mind of enlightenment, then when you develop your ethics, also the mind of enlightenment grows stronger and stronger. So even if you don't meditate on the mind of enlightenment in a particular period, just because you increase your ethics, just because you make your ethics become more powerful, the mind of enlightenment would also become more powerful. And likewise, if you meditate on the mind of enlightenment, but for the time being that abstention is not manifestly present in your mind, still, because you're now increasing the mind of enlightenment, as a byproduct also, your ethics will grow and increase. So this is the meaning of two consciousnesses qualifying each other. So
just how would you express that? I've written down how ethics qualifies the mind of enlightenment.
So
not exactly the way you would say it.
So the way that I would say that is that when you, so we said that the nature of ethics is abstention. So let's say that you increase the power of abstention, right? So your ethics become stronger. Then even if you're now not meditating on the mind of enlightenment, still, because your ethics has become stronger, also the mind of enlightenment will grow and increase. So in that way, they qualify each other, right? Even if you do not meditate on that now, on one of them now, by the power of increasing one, the other will increase.
So increasing the power of abstention explicitly qualifies the strength of the mind of enlightenment.
No, we're not using the word explicitly yet. No.
All right, we'll just qualify.
Yeah, just qualifying. So we're not using the word explicitly yet because the word explicitly has a particular meaning. So, right. So when we in that explanation, I said that if you meditate, for example, on the mind of enlightenment, it is now manifestly present in your mind, right? Now you have a manifest intention to attain complete enlightenment for the welfare of others. This is what is manifest now in your mind. Even if ethics, which means a mind of abstention, is not manifestly present in your mind now, which means that even if you're not intentionally guarding your ethics now, it is not manifest, still by increasing the strength of your mind of enlightenment, the manifest mind, other virtues like ethics will grow and increase. So suppose that now I'm guarding my ethics. I'm abstaining deliberately, intentionally from stealing. There's something really nice in front of me. And I have an opportunity to take it while no one else notices that. No, there's an avenue for killing. I can do it, for stealing. I can do it easily, but then I think to myself, this is not the right thing for me to do. I'm a monk. This is not the right thing for me to do. I am guarding the ethical discipline that abstains from the 10 known virtues. I am training in the deeds of bodhisattvas and so forth. So when I'm abstaining from stealing, and it is a manifest state in my mind, even if at that point the mind of enlightenment is not manifest in my mind, still by guarding ethics, the mind of enlightenment grows and increases. So this is the meaning of manifest. So, of qualified. This is the meaning of qualified. Sorry. Thank you. Yeah. So, sorry. I'm trying deliberately not to confuse you, but sometimes I miss.
No, look, like the meditation that I gave today on refuge, contemplating on the three jewels will increase our refuge.
Yeah, contemplating the three jewels will increase our refuge. The refuge is like when sometimes when we speak about what is the nature of refuge, not the refuge vow, but just refuge in general. The nature of refuge is a sense of reliance, right? So, sorry?
And protection.
And protection, but it's more like kind of you want to protect your training in refuge, let's say. But I think that the very nature of reliance is the very nature of refuge is relying upon the three jewels. So how do you rely upon them? When you meditate on the Buddha, right? So you meditate on the good qualities of the Buddha. Yeah. When you meditate on the good qualities of the Dhamma and of the Sangha, then your mind becomes reliant upon them. And then once you go for refuge, you have that sense of protection.
Yeah. So that's another example.
Yeah.
Of what you were talking about.
Well, it could be another example, but it has a more specific meaning. It has a more specific meaning, particularly to when you have attained a path. So we speak about the 5 paths, right? The 5 paths. How do you say? I never have the right accent. Well, Dechen is my kind of accent tutor. How do you say paths? Paths. All right. You're completely failed now. P-A-T-H-S. Paths. No, but in plural. Paths. Anyway. Also people at home also try to help me. Hard. Thank you. Hard. So thank you very much, people. You're kind of really anyway. So it has a kind of, it is relevant to the presentation of paths, because we, you know, the first path is the path of accumulation, right? So the measure for attaining the path of accumulation in general is the attainment of uncontrived renunciation, uncontrived determination to live cyclic existence. So we have here a chart. You know, you don't have to study this chart now. Don't get stressed. But we have the path of accumulation, preparation, path of seeing, path of meditation, path of normal learning. These are the 5 paths. In order to enter the first one, the path of accumulation, you need to generate and this is a presentation of the lesser vehicle path, but we can also say that in general, the measure for having entered a path in general is uncontrived renunciation, uncontrived determination to emerge. From this point onward, all of your virtuous state of mind will be qualified by the determination to live cyclic existence, which means that the more you meditate on renunciation, it is an uncontrived renunciation. It's a second nature, right? So you don't need gross effort in order to meditate on that. It is there, you know, in a kind of, you still need subtle effort, but you can do it easily. You easily have that natural intention to live cyclic existence. Nothing anymore in cyclic existence seems to you to be so pleasurable. You can see the suffering nature of cyclic existence, of samsara. So, I mean, you still haven't seen true suffering perceptually, but kind of you've meditated on true suffering enough to have developed that genuine intention to live cyclic existence. You know, it is uncontrived. From this point onward, all the virtues in your mind stream will increase. Even if you don't meditate on them explicitly, just by increasing the power of renunciation, all other virtuous states of mind will grow and increase. And also, when you meditate on all other virtuous states of mind, through them, you know, so you have faith and non-attachment, non-anger, non-ignorance, conscientiousness, embarrassment, sense of shame, right? These 2 are also virtuous mental factors. So when you meditate on all of those virtuous states, by the power of the meditation on those virtuous states, the determination to live cyclic existence will grow and increase because they qualify each other. So we're dealing with virtuous states of mind that qualify each other. A virtuous state of mind doesn't qualify a non-virtuous state of mind. So, for example, by the power of meditating on the determination to live cyclic existence, your anger will not increase. Your attachment will not increase. They do not qualify each other. If you meditate on attachment, if you meditate on anger, in a sense that they become stronger, you become more familiar with them, the determination to live cyclic existence will not grow, right? It will not become stronger. So in that sense, they do not qualify each other. It's only a virtuous state of mind that will qualify each other. Or you can say also non-virtuous state of mind will qualify each other. Like, for example, the stronger your attachment is, the stronger you will become angry when the object of attachment will be taken from you, right? Or you could say that the more attached you are, probably the greater your pride could become. So virtuous state of mind can qualify each other. It doesn't mean that they necessarily do that. They do that from a certain point onward. Like, for example, when you attain a path. So I'm saying that in relation to what you said, Dechen, Molly. Maybe you can call you Mochen.
As you like.
All right. Or Dolly. Yeah, or well, anyway, Dechen. So you can say that your meditation on the three objects of refuge, the qualities of the three objects of refuge, can increase your refuge in the sense that your sense of reliance. So, however, I'm not sure how to posit it in terms of the progression along the stairs of the path, because for consciousnesses to qualify each other, we normally start to speak about it from the attainment of renunciation. So you go for refuge before you develop an uncontrived renunciation.
Do you?
Sorry?
You do you?
Well, I don't have uncontrived renunciation.
No.
I go for refuge. It's not a good refuge, but I still try to go for refuge.
Yes. But certainly, refuge will lead to renunciation.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think that I think that you probably wouldn't be able to develop renunciation, or particularly here uncontrived renunciation, without having gone for refuge. In a sense that you can say that to a certain degree, you can say that all of us have a certain degree of renunciation, because none of us want to have suffering. Even non-Buddhists do not want to have suffering. They want to emerge from a state of suffering. But that's just a general statement, right? It doesn't make everyone Buddhist. But to have an understanding of what keeps you in cyclic existence, karma and afflictions, and they contribute to a birth in cyclic existence, which is the third type of suffering. Or this is samsara. Sorry, the third type of, they cause birth in samsara, a samsaric state in which you have an aggregate of suffering, such as this body. And knowing that if you cut through karma and afflictions, if you eliminate them, you can emerge from cyclic existence. That requires an understanding of refuge, particularly of, I think, Buddha as a teacher, that's one thing, but the Dharma as being the actual refuge, true paths and true cessation being the actual refuge, and the understanding that you can attain them. So this is definitely, I think, required in order to have uncontrived determination to live cyclic existence. Anyway.
And that's required for the path of accumulation?
Yeah, that's for the path of, so for the path of accumulation, you need not only renunciation, it needs to be uncontrived, right? Because all of us, I think, when we do our meditation at home, we meditate on suffering, right? Suffering of change, pervasive suffering of conditionality. We meditate on true origins. We see, and also on true cessations, we see that there is a possibility to eliminate suffering and the cause of suffering. And so then we develop a greater sense of renunciation. But it's not that it's present in our mind all the time, right? We currently, for most of us, we spend some time studying it, reflecting upon it, meditating upon it, and we contrive it again and again, because we need to get used to that determination to live cyclic existence. Until we do it for such a long time, at which point it will be uncontrived, in a sense that we will no longer require that coarse effort in order to do it. So to be a contrived state of mind means that there's still a coarse effort that is required. A coarse effort, you sit into a meditation session. It takes you some time to think about, to do an analytical meditation. You analyze certain situation, and then through that effort, that thought arises.
You started this conversation talking about aspiring bodhicitta and engaging bodhicitta.
Yeah.
And are we getting to that?
We will get to that. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah. So then, at some point, it will become uncontrived state of mind, in that there will no longer be that coarse effort that is required. It would be like genuine, or it's not that no effort at all will be required. Subtle effort, like a thought, will still be needed, but we won't need to kind of sit in meditation for a long time and go through certain stages in order to rise it. We'll become thoroughly habituated with that state of mind. So that's uncontrived. So I'm saying that in relation to consciousnesses qualifying each other, right? So going back to the definitions. Where is it? Here. All right. So it is a conventional mind of enlightenment that does not, so I'm looking at aspiring mind of enlightenment, that does not explicitly qualify the practice of the conduct. Now, we spoke about qualify, right? So then let's introduce the word explicitly qualify. To explicitly qualify means that those two consciousnesses that qualify each other have to be manifestly present at the same time. Right? Both of them need to be manifestly present at the same time. So I can give you an example. Giving, the perfection of giving, or the nature of the perfection of giving, or the practice of giving in general, is the intention to give. Right? This is what we train it. We train not only in the physical act of giving, but mainly in the intention to give our body, possessions, and roots of virtue. So I'm now meditating on generosity, in that I'm increasing my intention to give. I'm practicing a Tonglen meditation, for example. So particularly in a Tonglen meditation, I'm now meditating, let's say, on giving away my body, possessions, and roots of virtue, and they become everything that sentient beings wish and want and need. And I'm doing that without, I'm thinking that I'm doing that without any sense of loss, right? Completely willing to give them away to sentient beings. So that's generosity. It is the intention to give. When I'm meditating on that, it is explicitly present in my mind, in that it is a manifest state of mind. If at the same time also I think that I'm now giving away my body, possession, and roots of virtues, so that I will accrue the causes for attaining the state of enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings, which means that bodhicitta is also manifestly present in my mind. Those two consciousnesses are manifest at the same time in my mind stream, right? They operate at the same time in my mind stream.
Bodhicitta and generosity.
Yeah,
in that example.
yeah. Bodhicitta and generosity, both of them are manifestly present in my mind, and they can also qualify each other, in that they increase each other's strength. That's the meaning of
Explicitly coming.
Yeah, that's the meaning of the explicit, that both of them are manifest at the same time.
Right. So you could say explicitly qualified.
Yeah. If you don't say explicitly qualify, if you just say qualify, it means that even if one is not manifest at the present, still by meditating on the other, it will still grow and increase. So for example, I'm now meditating on bodhicitta. Just bodhicitta. I'm not meditating on giving away my body, possessions, and roots of virtue. I'm not meditating on giving. I'm just meditating on bodhicitta. And not only that, bodhicitta is now uncontrived. I go to the stage in which bodhicitta is like a genuine bodhicitta. It is uncontrived. No cost effort is needed. So even if now I'm not meditating on giving, just by meditating on bodhicitta, my intention to give will grow and increase.
And meditating on bodhicitta also means, having uncontrived bodhicitta would mean that you no longer have any coarse obscurations present.
What do you mean coarse obscuration? What is a coarse obscuration?
Because I'm sure you probably still have some subtle.
No, but when you say no longer, coarse obscurations will no longer be present, what do you mean?
Afflictive state of mind, in other words, anger and attachment, hate, annoyance, jealousy, a lot of those negative attitudes are no longer present in your mind because you have generated uncontrived bodhicitta.
It doesn't follow. So,
but that was one of the benefits of bodhicitta. So why wouldn't it follow?
Well, afflictions, you will not be overpowered by afflictions. It doesn't mean that they will not be present at all. So let's look at this diagram, the Great Vehicle Path. So the Great Vehicle Path, the Mahayana path, begins with, this is point 2. That's the entrance to the path of accumulation, with the generation of uncontrived mind of enlightenment, uncontrived bodhicitta. You start to abandon anger, attachment, and so forth only once you get to from the path of seeing onwards. Along the path of accumulation and the path of preparation, you still have afflictions. You haven't started abandoning them. It does not necessarily mean that they become manifestly present, but they're still there.
They're on the way out.
Yeah, I mean, definitely when you have developed bodhicitta, the strength of your afflictions has decreased greatly.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I want to
All right.
say. Yeah,
Cool. So your strength of your afflictions has decreased.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's go back to aspiring man of enlightenment and engaging man of enlightenment. So there are a few scenarios here. To begin with, suppose that you haven't taken the Bodhisattva vow at all. If you haven't taken the Bodhisattva vow, any bodhicitta that you will have will only be aspiring bodhicitta. Right? For engaging bodhicitta, the first criteria is that you need to have taken the vow. If you haven't taken the Bodhisattva vow at all, or if you have taken it and it has degenerated, your man of enlightenment is aspiring man of enlightenment. So you can take the Bodhisattva vow, right? But it can still degenerate in your mind if you generate a wrong view. If you think at some point that if you relinquish the man of enlightenment, and you think that actually it's too hard, takes too much time, sentient beings are unruly, I try to help them out, but they harm me in return, I better wait for my own liberation. You relinquish the mind of enlightenment. Therefore, you no longer have the engaging vow. But then, if you think after that was a mistake to think about it, actually, I do want to attain the state of enlightenment, you already lost the vow. You don't have it anymore. At that point, it is an aspiring man of enlightenment. It's not an engaging man of enlightenment. Or you cannot have an engaging man of enlightenment if you don't have the vow, or if the vow has degenerated.
So it's only if you're on the great scope.
Yeah.
That you can do engaging bodhicitta.
Well, only if you
lower scope practices are all aspiring.
Well, if you're a great scope practitioner, you still need to practice this small and medium steps of the path that are common or shared with you. Yeah. But the thing is that if you, let's say that you're a genuine middling scope practitioner and you're not interested at all in the great scope practices, so you would never make that commitment anyway. Just as the verse says, "O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, please pay attention to me. Just as all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas have passed to develop the thought of enlightenment, true bodhicitta, and practice stages of great development, blah, 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 blah." You will not take upon yourself the commitment to follow the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in generating bodhicitta and train in the deeds of Bodhisattvas just as they have done.
Why not?
Because you're just seeking your own liberation. If you seek your own liberation, why would you make a commitment to training the deeds of Bodhisattvas?
What if that's all you know?
Sorry?
What if that's all you know? In other words, you didn't know of this amazing opportunity to take the Bodhisattva vow.
Mm.
This is what you have been taught, the Jnana. You don't know any better. It sounds, the results are good.
There are two, there are different, when we speak about the Hinayana, the Theravada tradition, we speak about it as kind of, one solid approach to one spiritual path, but you can approach it in different ways. Like, for example, if you approach it from the point of view of wisdom, the wisdom side, let's say, of the view side, not the wisdom, the view side, you might belong to a school of thought that would think that the Buddha did not actually teach how to attain Buddhahood. The Buddha only taught how to attain the state of enlightenment. So anyway, all those practices, taking the Bodhisattva vows and so forth, they were not prescribed by the Buddha. Someone has made them up. That's one approach that a Hinayana practitioner could have. It's not that all of them have it, but that could be one approach. No. No, if you travel through some, I think, more strict Hinayana areas, then, you have areas where people strongly think that the Buddha did not teach the Mahayana, that the Buddha did not teach ways for us to become Buddhas. It's not that they say that it's not possible to become Buddhas. They say that the Buddha did not teach that, and this is a later invention. And therefore, from the very get-go, they will not be inclined to take the Bodhisattva vow because this is not what the Buddha taught. So that could be one way. Another way would be that even though you might be thinking that the Buddha, it is possible that the Buddha did teach that, but it's too hard. I better work on my own liberation. So you will be anyway not inclined to think, I'm just going to practice like Bodhisattvas because Bodhisattvas aim at the state of enlightenment I'm not going to follow the footsteps because they actually want to become Buddha. So why would I take the vow? So anyway, explicitly qualified. So we said that first of all, if you don't have the vow, the engaging vow, or even if you had it but it declined, the mind of enlightenment in your mind stream could only be aspiring mind of enlightenment. It cannot be engaging mind of enlightenment. That's the first criteria. Now, the second criteria would be that suppose that now the mind of enlightenment is manifestly present in your mind, but the practice of the conduct, generosity and so forth, is not manifestly present in your mind, which means that only bodhicitta is manifest, generosity is not manifest, ethics is not manifest, patience is not manifest, joyous effort is not manifest, concentration is not manifest. These are parts of the deeds of bodhisattva, right? If they are not manifest, only bodhicitta is manifest at the present. It is an aspiring mind of enlightenment.
I thought they qualified each other.
Here we're looking at explicitly qualifying, right? So I'm looking at this definition. It is a conventional mind of enlightenment. So let's say the conventional mind of enlightenment is present. It is manifest in your mind stream, but it does not explicitly qualify the practice of the conduct. So the word explicit means that these two consciousnesses need to be manifestly present at the same time. So if generosity is not manifest, ethics, patience, joyous effort, absorption, if they're not manifest at this given time, only bodhicitta is manifest at this given time, it is an aspiring mind of enlightenment. I'm not, it is an aspiring mind of enlightenment because I'm not engaging any other practice of bodhisattvas. I'm just meditating for the time being on bodhicitta, which is a great thing. When I say just, it's not to play down the importance of bodhicitta meditation, but suppose that now I sit at home in meditating on the sevenfold cause and effect personal instructions, or I have already developed uncontrived bodhicitta, right? I have an uncontrived bodhicitta, but just sit in meditation and meditate single-pointedly on the intention that focuses on complete enlightenment for the benefit of others as its aid. I'm doing that in order to increase my familiarity with bodhicitta, the strength of bodhicitta. I'm not doing anything else at the present. So at this point, when bodhicitta is manifestly present, it is an inspiring mind of enlightenment. It does not explicitly qualify the practice of the conduct. While it doesn't explicitly qualify, it still qualifies. It qualifies in that by the power of my meditation on bodhicitta, indirectly, my ethics will grow, my generosity will become stronger, but are not manifest at the moment. it would be like a byproduct of my bodhicitta motivation.
So what you're saying is that meditating on Tonglen or follow 7 causes with the one effect, the meditations on bodhicitta, is all aspiring bodhicitta meditations?
Not necessarily. So then when we look at now engaging bodhicitta, so for engaging bodhicitta, one criteria is that you have to have the vow in your mind stream. That's to begin with. Then the mind of enlightenment is present, manifest in your mind, it is manifestly present. And also the practice of the conduct of bodhisattvas is manifestly present in your mind. Right? So if you tick the boxes, then you have, you check, do I have the engaging vow? Tick, I have it. Is my mind of enlightenment manifest at the moment? Tick, it is.
Why? Because we've taken the vow.
No, I'm just kind of looking at a certain scenario. If you think of a certain scenario, I'm now meditating on bodhicitta. So tick, I have it. And at the same time, I'm also meditating on Tonglen. So I'm thinking that I've practiced equalizing, exchanging self with others. And normally Tonglen is like an added meditation that comes at the end of the exchange between self and others. So the meditation on Tonglen is an added thing, kind of practice to the exchange of self with others. So I have both bodhicitta manifestly present and the intention to give my body possessions and roots of virtue. So it isn't. So the mind of enlightenment at this point is an engaging mind of enlightenment.
Because you're practicing generosity.
Yeah, because generosity is manifest at that point, and because I have the vow in my mind stream. So the mind of enlightenment is an engaging mind of enlightenment. All right, so I have a couple of questions here. So Graham is saying, would you consider that Mother Teresa was or is a bodhisattva? I don't know. I mean, it's like you could, now to know who is a bodhisattva and who is not a bodhisattva, you need to, I think, you need to know the mind. You need to know sentient being's mind, which I don't know. Would you say that she practiced something that a bodhisattva did, that a bodhisattva would practice? Yeah, she did. But for that, if you want to be, if you want to kind of pin me down, was she a bodhisattva or was she not a bodhisattva? How would I know? It's the same. There is also, I think, that this general discussion that says Jesus was also a bodhisattva. Yeah, you could say that he did practice things that bodhisattvas practice. So he could have been a bodhisattva, but he did not teach bodhicitta. He did speak about working for the sake of others, giving away his own body for the sake of others. But so these things are practiced by bodhisattvas, and they're great practices. But how would I know if Jesus was a bodhisattva? How can I be certain that Jesus was a bodhisattva? I mean, I never even met him. I mean, one thing that comes to mind is that, yeah, I didn't meet the Buddha. Actually, I mean, this is just a side comment. We follow different teachers. We have faith in different teachers. But if you'd ask me if I could come up with someone that I would suspect that in all likelihood they're a bodhisattva, the first person that comes to mind is Lama Zopa Rinpoche. Yeah, so again, I wouldn't know if Lama Zopa Rinpoche is a bodhisattva. And also it could be actually a Buddha, even better than that. It's that's also very likely, likelihood, but I don't know. But looking at his activities, I would think that if anyone would behave like a bodhisattva, then if there's anyone that displayed those genuine deeds of bodhisattvas, then for me, Lama Zopa Rinpoche stands out as first and foremost. So there are a couple of questions here. So 2 mental consciousnesses need to be manifest simultaneously for to be manifest simultaneously? Is there debate about this possibility? All right, so yeah, so this is a continuation of Paul's question. Yeah, so two mental consciousnesses are manifest at the same time simultaneously. There is a certain debate relating to that, but not about the possibility of two consciousnesses manifested at the same time. I mean, first of all, I think that based upon a personal experience, we can see how it is possible for two consciousnesses to be manifest at the same time. Like, for example, not even looking at it from a Dharma perspective. You know, I think that if you're a parent, then you could be cooking food while mind your child, right? You can be on the phone, concentrated on a certain conversation, while you mind your child at the same time. You know, so you can say that both of those consciousnesses can be manifestly present in your mind. Now, the meaning of a manifest consciousness, by the way, if you wonder what's a manifest consciousness, kind of a general description of a manifest consciousness is that when you and the consciousness operate as one, in a sense that, for example, I have anger in my mind stream, but it's not manifest now. While I'm talking to you, anger is not manifest, which means that although anger exists in my mind stream, I and anger currently do not operate as one. We do not engage as one. But should I get angry with Maggie, for example, then no, anger and me as a person will operate as one. You know, I would be, as a person, Katsun, I would be angry at Maggie, and anger would also observe Maggie. So that's kind of more like a general way of looking at the meaning of a manifest consciousness. So are we clear more or less about the engaging vow? So Kerry is saying that I had on Facebook, never pick on someone who may fumble a word as remember they know a second language. Yeah.
Or could be 3 or 4 in your case.
Yeah, even worse. But but also, you know, in relation to that, I wanted to just to mention one point that came up in Geshe-la's session today. So these two definitions that we looked at, the definition of the engaging and inspiring mind of enlightenment, are taken from Jetsumpa's writing. Jetsumpa. So Jetsumpa or Jetsun Chugi Gyaltsen was the main manual writers of the text that Seraja monastery uses. So each one of the monasteries has its own special manual writer. So Seraja follows Jetsumpa, who composed a lot of text. But today Geshe-la put forward a different position. So Geshe-la put forward something that was, he said that it's from His Holiness's teaching relating back to Lama Tsongkhapa's Golden Rosary. Now, this is just my assumption. I'm not sure that this is correct, but this is maybe just a guess. I think that His Holiness's Dalai Lama, I think that maybe it was more connected with Drepung Monastery. Is it correct? Ganden, maybe Ganden. Anyway, forget about it. Anyway, the position that Geshe-la put forward, dependent, and this is related to something that His Holiness says, is that rather than speaking about engaging bodhicitta, is two consciousnesses that need to be explicitly qualified, or manifestly present. The different position was that if you have taken the Bodhisattva vow, from that point onward, your mind of enlightenment is an engaging mind of enlightenment. So it's a different position, right? So how do we then compare those two positions? According to Jetsumpa, if you have taken the vow, you have occasions where you have aspiring man of enlightenment, and you have occasions in which you have engaging man of enlightenment. It depends on whether you have the man of enlightenment manifestly present with another consciousness. That's according to Jitsumpa, right? So you can have occasions in which you have aspiring man of enlightenment, occasions in which you have engaging. According to the comment that Geshe made today that is related to something that His Honor said, if you have taken the engaging vow, from that point onward, you'll have the engaging man of enlightenment, since that you will not have the aspiring man of enlightenment, only the engaging man of enlightenment. So it's a different position. We don't have to decide which is correct, no, which position is correct and which position is incorrect, particularly because we haven't thought about it enough. No, we haven't got all the, we haven't compared different cases. We haven't had a debate about it. We haven't said, what about this point in this scenario and that scenario? So there's still some thinking for us to do to see which position fits better with our understanding. So when you pick up a position, it's not that you become disrespectful of someone else. No, so it's quite interesting. Before we had, Geshe, when Geshe Tsering was here for many years, he was the only Geshe that was teaching here, right? So all the knowledge that we got was according to Geshe Tsering's presentation, and then came Geshe Jamyang, that was one of his students, but sometimes his presentation was different, right? He picked up debates with Geshe and he presented different views. And at the beginning, it created quite a lot of stir. People were upset. They said that this is disrespectful. How can you challenge the positions of Geshe Tsering? This is, is your teacher. You're disrespecting your teacher. And this is all crap. It's like, if you take it up with a critical analysis, you can totally respect your teacher, but still use your own reasons, logic, scriptural citation to reach your own conclusion. And if you have all your bases covered, your teacher will be really happy about it. You've done your own thinking. You've reached your own conclusion. That's a good thing to do. So we have a position from His Honor Dalai Lama. You have a position coming from Jitsumpa's writing. These two are different. So we can research them and see which works better for us, which fits our understanding better, and then settle on that position. But at least it's good to know that there are those two positions. All right, so we're a bit late. So maybe, I think that Graham had a few more questions, but sorry, we have to leave it here for now. So maybe, Graham, I'll look at your questions and maybe try to answer them tomorrow. So sorry?
Tomorrow we'll do more.
Yeah, tomorrow we'll do the definitions of bodhicitta, the man of enlightenment. So thank you very much, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the day. I'll put the prayers on the screen. Sorry? Yeah, dedication prayers. So, all right. Gewadi nyududa lama sangye drugyone jowa chikyama lupa de salagopa sho janchu semcho rinpoche makye pana kyegyuchi kyepa nyampa me paya gone gondu pewa sho kangri rawe kowe shinkandi pendan dewa malu june Chenre ziwan tenzing yatsoi shape site badu tengyu chi tu so jan shin jang gung yawe tenzing kyon pe we kunzo do po tse cho sun ko we le mun tu dru Pada so du je kondu shapten shu. All right, so we'll leave it here for now. Now, this file that I'm using for the definition is on the Dropbox. So for those of you at home, if you want to have a look at those definitions, work with them, then you find the whole file on Dropbox. What I encourage you to do is to look at the definition and try to break them into individual components, into individual parts, so that, if you think of, for example, the engaging man of enlightenment, you can know, even if you don't remember the wording of the definition, you can remember that it needs to have three parts. The part pertaining to someone need to have the engaging vow. Then the mind of enlightenment needs to be present, and it explicitly qualifies the practice of the conduct. Also, sorry, it is a conventional mind of enlightenment, needs to explicitly qualify the practice of the conduct. So it's good to break it into different parts just in order to be able to hold the definition better. Anyway, we'll do it. We'll speak about it tomorrow again. So
When's the test due? Captain? When's the test due?
sorry?
When is the test answers due to you?
Friday evening.
Friday evening. Okay, great.
Friday midnight. Give you a few hours, midnight.
You're up that late. Well, good to hear. Okay,
Eastern time, midnight Eastern time.